Chain Drug Review, and Mass Market Retailers Video Forum. Brought to you by the Emerson Group.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeffrey Wolt, Editor-in-Chief of Retail Media IQ. Welcome to our video forum. Today, we're thrilled to have as our guest our friend Steve Anderson, President and CEO of the National Association of Chain Drugstores. Steve, always good to see you. We're here primarily to talk about Total Store Expo. This year's TSE will be in Boston, August 14th through 17th. Maybe you can remind our audience about the thinking behind Total Store Expo and what the value proposition is for members of our industry.
Yeah, Jeff, thanks. I appreciate the opportunity. I always enjoy our chats. We started this in 2013, you may recall. That was quite some time ago. And we merged three different trade shows into one. We had a marketplace conference that was front end. We had a pharmacy and technology conference, and then we had a supply chain conference. And we decided that we were going to focus on the total store. And I think looking back on this 13 years ago, it's more important now more than ever that, we haven't balkanized the industry, but we really looked at the collaboration and really where people bring different people within their company. And there's a lot of interdepartmental conversations. And one of the great strengths of NACDS over the years is that we have retailers and suppliers. We have companies with different business models, different business plans. But when they show up at an NACDS meeting, whether it's on a policy issue or whether it's our annual meeting, our regional chain conference, or the Total Store Expo, they get work done. So this is going to be a really great show. We're anticipating that we're going to have domestic and international retailers representing about 160,000 stores. We've got about 650 supplier companies that will be in attendance. And the theme of the conference this year is all in. And I think that reflects what you're going to see on the show floor.
You mentioned the show floor where retailers and suppliers interact. You also have the Meet the Market program. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've run three associations over my career, and I think the Meet the Market program is probably one of the most extraordinary things I've seen in my association career. We will have this year approximately 5,000 business appointments in 10-minute intervals from 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock. And I think that this really shows to me the innovation, the disruption, the entrepreneurship that we have in this industry. We have a lot of new companies that come to this show. And I think it's just extraordinary. And I know our members enjoy it. And I just love to just talk to the folks that come in. And it's interesting. On Friday night, we have a session with a lot of our companies who are first-time attendees. They are basically startup companies or entrepreneurs. They're blown away by the fact that when they go to other meetings, NACDS is different because NACDS is all based on relationships, people helping other people out to grow their businesses. That's what we do at NACDS in a lot of different ways.
As a journalist, one of my favorite components are the insight sessions. Maybe you can give us a little bit of a preview about some of the topics that will be addressed this year.
Yeah, we've got a lot of different things going on with insight sessions. And you're right. You get to drill down into some areas and, going back to that whole perspective of collaboration, they're structured such that we'll have speakers, we may have a panel, but everybody gets to participate. Everybody's a part of that whole issue. And there's, we get kind of granular on issues. We've got one this year on reshaping care access. And, last year FDA had finalized this regulatory pathway for a new category of OTC products. And that'll be one of them. We're doing a lot with GLP-1s. We're going to be making some announcements on the role that NACDS and pharmacies will continue to play as GLP-1s expand. And we've got one on AI, and it's called AI and the Path to Purchase, which is all about shopper discovery and the impact on that. So AI and technology is going to be big. Our popular one is always the pharmacy trends and issues and the forecast that IQVIA does. One of the areas that I get excited about, we started the NACDS Institute several years ago, as you remember, where we have a session, and I'm going to be moderating one, and it's really going to be focused on pharmacy's future and how we move from a fragmented system that we've had traditionally, probably always with pharmacy, but how through technology and AI on how the industry will have connected care. That's going to be really exciting because we've got some experts from within our industry and technology companies. And I think we're doing a lot with our health and wellness initiative, our food as a medicine program, food prescriptions, our Nourish My Health program. We've had a great partnership with Milken on that over the last several years, and there's so much going on in that space as we focus on the big four chronic diseases of diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular disease, and neurodegenerative disease. And a lot of that is based on exercise and nutrition. And because the technology is getting so much better now, and our members are all in on this, I think that's going to be a great program too.
Another highlight of the show is, of course, the business meeting, where you and Dave Warner, who is NACDS current chairman, will speak. And also you have General David Petraeus. Give us a preview. What you guys going to be talking about?
We're going to be going with the all-in theme that I had mentioned earlier. And, we're all in on our member success. We're all in on the value that we bring to our member companies. And we're really all in the success of our companies and really on the future of what we're doing. Dave Warner, our chair, he's done a great job this year. And I will be explaining a new strategic framework for NACDS moving forward. The time is perfect for this. There's, we're going to have a transition in leadership with my retirement at the end of the year. Our financial situation is the best it's ever been. We have, to quote Jamie Dimon, if I could, we do have a fortress balance sheet right now. And there's just a lot of great engagement on behalf of our members. And this is going to be really, really exciting moving forward. So we're going to unveil portions of that to get our members engaged in it. But I've been working for the last 6 months with the NACDS board. We set up a board committee that worked on this really, really hard, and with our staff team and with an outside consultant to develop this strategic framework. And I think it's going to set the stage for taking NACDS to the much higher level the next in a really, really exciting and compelling way. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the success we've had. This year we had signed into law during a very difficult congressional session this year, but it's the largest PBM reform bill that's ever been enacted in the country. And what's going on with that in terms of its implementation. We're going to be talking about our food as medicine and our health and safety activities. We're going to be talking about provider status for pharmacies that we're working on, which is really the key to everything we need to do to move forward so pharmacies and pharmacists can practice at the top of their license. I'm really excited about General Petraeus coming. We had him last speak at our foundation dinner when it was in New York in 2013. And boy, has the world changed since then. And I think General Petraeus is like the perfect person to talk to in light of the geotensions around the world. Now he's working for KKR, and he's heading up an institute there. And he's been advising companies on the geopolitical situation in the world and the impact it's having on their businesses. And, there's not a better person that we can talk to about that. That'll fit our strategic theme that Dave and I are going to be talking about.
You mentioned the foundation. Part of TSE is the foundation dinner. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that event and why it's so important in supporting the research that the NACDS Foundation does.
Yeah, I think the foundation is one of the hidden gems, probably not so hidden anymore, of NACDS. Several years ago, you may recall, we moved our foundation dinner from a standalone event in New York City to really making it the key. It's really the kickoff of TSE. And we moved it to the site of TSE and not in New York. And that has been wildly successful. I mean, it's considered a must-attend event. And we give scholarships out through the money that we raise at that. Last year we set an all-time record. We gave $300,000 out to colleges and schools of pharmacies for them to use. We're involved in programs and doing research with Tufts University Food as Medicine Institute on that portion of our program that we're involved in. We've got a lot going with opioid and substance abuse. And we also partner with charitable groups. We do a lot of work with March of Dimes. We did a lot of work with them when Zika virus was breaking out. And the Alzheimer's Association and other groups. It'll be a fun evening, but it will be a very important meeting in terms of how we meet our commitment to the American people in terms of healthcare. So it's going to be great.
Final question for you, Steve. You mentioned the changes that you've made to the annual meeting, which of course will be next April. Maybe just briefly tell us about those changes and the thinking behind them.
Yeah, we've been looking at this for quite a while. We need to make sure the timing was right. The timing is definitely right to do this for our next one coming up in 2027. But we're moving from the Saturday to and Tuesday format to a Sunday, Tuesday one. You know, what we do when we change our meetings, we keep the best aspects of them, which are a lot for our annual meeting, and then you know, fine tune other areas that we need to work on. So we're going to have one business session instead of two, so people can get out there and do what they do want to come to NACDS to do, is to talk to their customers and plan for the coming year. You know, this is, from my perspective, this is the gold standard of not just association meetings in healthcare, but all associations. And, you know, once again, we're moving from a position of strength to enhance the annual meeting. I think it's going to be very, very well received. We're definitely all in on the annual as well as TSE.
A lot going on at NACDS. We appreciate you filling us in, and I look forward to seeing you in Boston.
That'll be great. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right, take care.